Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, everybody. It's a beautiful thing. When you get a chance to do the things that you love and get a chance to do the things that you feel like you're blessed to do, the things that you're really good at doing. I always tell people, if you're a business owner, or if you're thinking about becoming a business owner, or if you're getting ready to go to college or anything, I'm always telling people to find your passion. Go do those things that you feel like just comes naturally to you. And more important, do those things that you are willing to do for free, right? I think I found my passion, right? It's educating folks so we can take the fear out of finances through education. That's what Laster Financial Consultants are all about. And I can't think of a better place for me to be tonight. So for those of you who are listening right now, I know you can be anywhere right now. You could be doing anything right now, but you're spending time with me, and I want to make sure that the time that we spend together is worthwhile. I want to make sure that the time that we spend together is just completely gonna rock your world. For those of you who are new to this platform, I'm James Laster, Master Financial Planner, CEO of Laster Financial Consultants. Definitely come check us out at lasterfinancial.com. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and like The Laster Financial on Facebook and check out a lot of our trainings that we have prepared for you on All About Others on YouTube. Yes, All About Others on YouTube. We're talking about you and yours, right? Current events. Let's go ahead and start the day off. I started the evening off with talking about a few current events. Unless you've been living up under a rock, unless you have not watched the news, or unless you haven't been to the gas pump lately, Russia has decided to invade the Ukraine. And I've been receiving calls all day about this, one thing or another. How does this affect our investments? How is this going to affect our current state of our economy? And so I just want to approach it holistically and give you another perspective of what to look at, what to think about. As you know, these are crazy, uncertain times, right? I remember in 2020, we were saying this is uncertain times. This has never happened. Oh my goodness, what's going on? And then we turn around and 2021 happened. We thought we was getting to some normalcy, and now look at where we're at. We're in the midst of the capability, the possibility, and some would say the inevitability of World War III. So Ukraine has a lot of resources, was once a part of the Soviet Union. And one of the hugest things about the entire scenario is Russia's ability and capability to provide oil and gas resources, across the country. Okay. And as that happens, if there's a blockage in that, as form of retaliation, saying, hey, you know what? You guys didn't love me. You guys didn't take care of me. You guys went against me. It has the possibility of causing a lot of oil and gas, prices to go up. So how does that affect us here? Okay. Well, here's the thing. Inflation is already through the roof. Okay? That's the cost of milk, eggs, juice, water, electricity. And with inflation being at what it is, with the Ukraine crisis going on, we already knew that interest rates were going to increase. But right now, it creates an era of instability. And many news pundits, as you know, I don't watch a lot of news. I just take what I need and I'm out of there. But here's the reality of it all. Okay. Inflation is one thing to concern yourself about. The other thing that many people have reached out to me today is about, hey, is my money safe? Will I be able to go to the ATM and pull money out of my account? What about my investments? You know, are my investments going to grow? And so I wanted to take the first portion of this evening just to have a quick conversation about that. Some of it may be unsettling, and some of it is what it is. Let's deal with it. Let's face it head on. Okay. So here's the first thing. The first thing is your money safe? The question is, where do you have your money? Right? So where do you have your money? So let's go through a few scenarios and then let's have a realistic conversation real quick. And by the way, if you have questions and you want to be a part of this conversation, I encourage you to go ahead and make a note inside the comments box. Hopefully we can cover a lot of the questions that many of you may have, but if not, leave them in the comment box and we'll definitely get back to them. And don't forget, reach out to us on lasterfinancial.com, All About Others on YouTube, and like us here at the Laster Financial on Facebook. Is your money safe? So if your money is in stocks, a couple things you need to know. All right, Warren Buffett says stocks are the best place to keep your money in the time of war. I'm never going to go against Warren Buffett, all right? The guy is a powerhouse, right? And you can put your questions in the chat box, even if you're watching on a replay, but just hear me out what I'm saying. Just hear me what I'm saying. Yes, your money will be somewhat safe in stocks. You got to know that the market is going down. It's been down for the last couple of days. And you hear many news pundits talking about that it's treading the recession era. It's treading a resetting. Okay. And this is a loaded question for everything that we're talking about. And just understand, if it seems negative, I have a remedy, but I just really want to hit a couple of points. Okay. So what's the best way to phrase this? Is that if your money is in the stock market, the stocks are going to go down. There's going to be a mass sell-off. Matter of fact, it's already happened. Right? There's already been a sell-off. And if you are in options trading right now, you're making a boatload if you invest it correctly. Okay? And I work with a great team of people that are eager to help anybody. They're here for you. They're here for me. They're here for everybody across the states that reach out to us. But here's the deal. So if the market is dropping and there's a mass sell-off, and Warren Buffett says, keep your money in the market, keep your position in the market. The question is, how much are you willing to lose? And how long are you willing to lose it? It's a great question, right? Because if your money's quote unquote safe inside the market, you have to understand that you're getting ready to take losses. Okay. And anytime there's a reset, a market reset or a recession, you are now in a financial battle. Okay. So if you are in a financial battle, how, what's your game plan to win this battle? What options do you have at your disposal so that you can get a win up under your belt, so to speak? Okay. So the market is one place to have your money, but you got to understand that you're going to take losses. Okay. Just by the sheer shape of it. Now, where are those losses coming from? Those losses are coming simply from the fact that, well, that's one of the way that businesses make their money, right? That's one of the huge ways that businesses make their money are through stocks. Now, business can make their money through 3 or 4 ways. The first way is to sell products and goods. The second way that business can make money is, or bring income into their business, shall I say, is take a loan from a bank, line of credit. Okay. The third way that businesses can make money is through the sales of partial ownership of their company. That's called stocks. Okay. So if the company is doing good, they pay you out a dividend, you're doing good. That dividend goes to your account and you're sitting high on the horse. But what happens when that business starts taking a loss? Your leverage in that business takes a loss as well. So, eventually some of that is going to be recouped. They're going to pull back on how much in dividends they're able to give you because they're not making a net profit. Okay. Now let's get back to that loan portion. That loan portion is basically a bond. Okay. So if a business is issuing bonds, who issued the bonds? It'd be a bank, but most of the times it's an insurance company. All right. So now let's talk about bonds. That's one way to keep your money safe during turbulent times. But see, bonds are having a hard time keeping up with inflation. The payouts for bonds, they're minuscule. Okay. Now, interest rates are due to go back up. So maybe, the bond market would get a little bit better, but a lot of people are not investing in bonds. There's another place to keep your money safe. You also have the cryptocurrency market. You can do that. But because it's so volatile, because it doesn't have necessarily a history behind it, choose wisely. Or shall I say, that shouldn't be a larger proportion of your investments. Okay. And what about real estate? Real estate is a pretty good go-to, right? But I want you to think about real estate in the time of war, in the time of a reset, in the time of a recession. That means people are not making as much money as they once was. That's one portion of it. But then the other side of it, can they make a rent? Can they handle that 3%, annual increase in rent? Right? So the issue of everything that I'm sharing with you, and I know it sounds pretty negative, is well, let's just call it what it is. In 2020, we didn't go through the normal cycle of things, right? We were faced with a pandemic, so there wasn't the mass evictions and the mass foreclosures, and the mass short sales that was out. That didn't happen. So because the natural way of things didn't happen as it should be, real estate is kind of a shoddy deal. Right. And I know some people are like, no, you don't bet against real estate. Real estate is great when you have tenants that are paying. Real estate is great if your tenants have an occupation that's essential. Real estate may not be so great, or shall I say it may fluctuate during times where you don't have a tenant. So where should your money be? Right, that's where this conversation is on, right? Where should your money be, right? I'm always going to support the idea of having a foundational investment. And that foundational investment of what I found to be the tried and true deal is cash value life insurance. You knew I was going to say it. You knew it, right? Okay, so here, let me break down some statistics for you. And encourage you guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you're covered. right? With the cash value side. And by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Sanjay. Hey, Sanjay, thank you for joining us. CDP Media. We love you guys, man. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't went to cdpmedia.com, check those guys out. We got much love coming from Chicago as we talk about this insurance conversation. Okay. So here's the insurance conversation. Let it build, let it simmer. Okay. So insurance is, in my opinion, is the trinity of financial investments. Okay. So first and foremost, whether we're doing a pandemic, whether we're during a time of war, here's the deal. A life insurance product has a death benefit so that your family can move on in your absence. So there's a death benefit. And that death benefit should cover all of your debts. It should cover all of your bills, hopefully for 10 years or more. Your family should not have to remove themselves from their current conditions, meaning your kids shouldn't have to move to and go to a new school. Meaning that your husband or your wife has enough time to mourn your loss. That's the death benefit part of life insurance. All right. The second part of life insurance, of that, financial trinity of investments, is the living benefits. So the living benefits, God forbid you become ill. God forbid that there's a terminal illness, a chronic illness, a critical illness, a critical injury. God forbid you are in a car accident, right? That should already be covered, and that's covered through cash value life insurance with its living benefits. But here's the third part. The third part that I really get excited about it is that it has a cash value, right? It has a cash value. And if you've been following us long enough, we teach you how to use that cash value to replace your expenses, to replace your income, to replace your savings. Okay? That's what that cash value is for. It's not there for you to just sit on it and marvel at its beauty. No, we want you to use it. We want you to use it. We want you to use it to cover your expenses. We want you to use it to replace your income, right? Chances are, if you're on one of our programs for 7 to 10 years, we can replace one or both or all three. Okay. So in a time of war, in a time of turmoil, where should your money be? Folks, do you not know that insurance companies are mandated globally, they are mandated to have 8 times as much money liquid than the policies that they are covering? 8 times. The bank is only required to have 1/10 in our fractional banking system. 1/10. So where should you have your money, right? So as I was working last night and then I saw the news, people in Ukraine were concerned that Russia was getting ready for an imminent attack. So what I saw was people lined up at the bank and at the ATM. Question: how much money do you think the banks had available? An insurance policy or a cash value from an insurance company can be wired to you anywhere. It can be sent to your bank account so you can use your card. It can be transferred inside any currency. It's running head and head with inflation right now. Inflation's a little high. Okay. But it's running neck and neck with inflation. So where should your money be? Should your money be locked up inside the bank? Well, let's take a step deeper than that. The banks pay out on average 0.40% returns. a life insurance pays out on average 7% or more. 7% or more. 7% or more versus 0.40%. And for those of you who maybe you're with a credit union, maybe you have your money inside a money market account, maybe you have a CD that you can't touch your money's locked up. And if you move your money, you miss out on all the interest earnings. Maybe you're getting 1%. You know what? Yeah, I'll fancy with you. Maybe you're getting 2%. I haven't seen anything more than 2%. Here's my point. The banks are flowing money and they're making 7% or more on every dollar that you put inside the bank. So the question, where should you have your money in the midst of turmoil? And where should you have your money in a time of war? Okay. Where should you have your money? And as we gravely approach that question, okay, as we gravely approach that question, there's another thing that y'all have to take into consideration. Everybody's talking about, inflation. They're talking about a lot of things that are the obvious. What about the supply chain? What about these supply chain issues that we're seeing? What does that mean for you? Okay. So there's inflation, there's supply chain issues. Okay. And some of you probably have already seen this where maybe you order something from maybe Amazon, maybe you order something from, I don't know, Walmart, I don't know, Alibaba, right? Maybe you order something from one of those places and you're trying to figure out, okay, how does inflation going to affect these things? Well, if there's a supply chain issue, then guess what that means? That means that now the cost of items are going to creep up. So I want to challenge all of my listeners. I want to challenge all of my clients. Listen, don't wait to the last minute. Treat this, and I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina. Those of you guys who know, I'm from down from the beach, right? Don't wait to the last minute. Start stacking now, right? Go ahead and do it now. Don't wait. Go ahead and, if you need, if you want to stash some water, if you need to stash some money, kind of like doomsday preppers, but not so aggressive with it. I don't know. Some of you guys have wonderful skills. Let's home in on those. How can you be of service to people? Okay. And I challenge you all to do this because, we are living in uncertain times. So during these uncertain times, one of the biggest things that I'm just trying to communicate to everyone is that no matter what, because you're living, you're going to have expenses. So because you have expenses, you got to have income. Okay. Now, because you have to have income, my question is, how long do you need to make income for yourself, for you to survive? Okay. Back to the insurance question. Insurance companies basically run the world right now. They're the one industry that run the world. I guarantee Russia would not be going to war if they did not have insurance. Ukraine, all those buildings that they're shooting down and blowing up and everything, they're insured. It's the insurance company's job to build that back up and what type of clauses are put in place. So now, if you're going to live, if you're a survivor, you're thinking about surviving. What I want to challenge you is that you only need to survive for 7 to 10 years. 7 to 10 years and you and your family will be well. Yes, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a struggle. So how am I, proposing to you to consider surviving? Well, let's say we replace your expenses in 7 years with a 4% cost of living adjustment. Let's get after it. So in our Flow to Grow program, We're always trying to educate folks. Look, it's a 7-year program, right? And it's based upon you saving 20% of the money that you're flowing. So let's say somebody wanted to flow $100,000. Okay, $100,000. But their ambition was, I'm gonna flow this $100,000. But in the Flow to Grow program, I'm gonna take a loan from my insurance policy, and I'm gonna leave inside my insurance policy $20,000. Hold up. Because one of the biggest questions we get from people is, why would I do this? Why would I take a loan from my policy? I understand saving money in my policies. There's other programs, whole life programs, the infinite banking programs. Other people, they know about index universal life policies, but some people don't understand flow to grow policies. And they're trying to understand, why in the world would I take a loan from my policy? James, don't I have to pay that loan back? That's the part that I want you to understand the most. Okay. First and foremost, there's only 2 ways to pull cash out of your policy. It's either by a withdrawal, and a withdrawal will reduce the amount of money that you have saved, never to be seen again. So if you have $10,000 saved up inside your policy, that means your policy is earning 7% on that $10,000 that you have inside your policy. Are you with me? So if you have $10,000 inside of your policy, and you pull out $5,000 by way of withdrawal, that means your interest earnings are less, because there's less money in reserve for the interest credits to be applied to. That's a basic concept I want everybody to get. It's a basic concept, okay? And that goes to show you that, infinite banking, okay, that's okay program. It's okay. It's not a flow to grow, but it's okay, right? That's if you're not going to touch it, you don't need it, you don't want to think about it, you're not going to see it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, little baby. Okay, all right. So that's the infinite banking, or one of those other life insurance programs. Not saying that it doesn't work. It takes a long time, but when you go to pull money back, are you earning enough interest to make up for that? Right? So you're disturbing interest by taking a withdrawal. You're disturbing the amount of money that can be earned on your policy. Because an example, there's $10,000, there once was $10,000 earning 7% interest. You went ahead and took a withdrawal, and now you're only earning 7%. Now you're only earning 7% on maybe, maybe. Dismal, right? Dismal, right? So the other way that you can take money out of your policy is by way of a loan. Now, insurance companies love this because they say, look, hey, if you take a loan out of this policy, we won't disturb the interest that's built up inside your policy, but what we will do is we'll give you the money. You leave your money where it's at. We'll loan you the money. And the collateral loan is the amount of money that you have saved up inside of your policy and the death benefit. Now, in this loan, you don't have to worry about paying us back because we'll get it when you die. So it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So when you take a loan, in this example, there's $10,000 there that you're earning interest on. When you take a loan from the policy, and this is the part that I want you to get, this is the reason why you would take a loan from your policy. The reason why you would take a loan from your policy is that you don't disturb interest. Now, if you're not going to disturb interest, and instead of you taking a $5,000 loan away from your $10,000, the bank could give you their $5,000. Now, yes, there's some strings attached. That string attaches, well, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, on average, we grow 7% interest on that $10,000 that you have inside your policy. So what we're going to do is we're going to charge you a loan fee of 3.5%. We're going to charge you 3.5%. Well, guess what? If your interest crediting is 7%, if your return is 7%, and they're charging you 3.5%, how much did you earn? You earned 3.5%, right? You're earning 3.5% on the loan that you pulled out of your policy. Not a withdrawal, a loan. And all of our clients know when you go to call in to go flow some money, when you make a request to go flow some money, you're always making a premium payment and taking a loan. You're never making a loan payment. Don't ever do that. Why? Because you're disturbing interest. You never make a loan payment. Why? You're disturbing interest. You never make a loan payment. Why? Because you're disturbing interest. Okay? So if you understand that, then it becomes a little simple to say, okay, hey, put $100,000 in, take a loan for $80,000, and you're going to leave $20,000 inside of your policy. So there's two things happening here. You're earning an average of 7% interest on that $20,000. And there's a loan right there. You remember 3.5% loan fee, right? So you're earning 3.5% on that $80,000 loan. It's called arbitrage. So by way of leveraging your income, leveraging your expenses, okay? And we're talking about replacing your expenses. This is how it's done. All right, so let's fast forward 7 years. After 7 years, you're doing the same thing, okay? By saving $20,000, and your total out-of-pocket savings at this point right now is $140,000. Well, because that savings is $140,000, you then are able to start taking $3,000 a month from your policy. But wait, it gets better. You're taking $40,000, then $42,000, then $43,000, you know, and then by the time you hit the 20-year mark, you're almost at $60,000 being taken out of your policy. And by the time it's time for you to retire, and that's why we do this, your retirement income at age 65 starts at $88,000. Here's the question: when can you retire? The answer is, how much is your expenses? So this is the way to start replacing expenses. And I'm showing you a way that you can start replacing the expenses in as little as 7 to 8 years. But remember, the longer you wait for stage 3, which is your distribution stage of your flow to grow policy, stage 1 is that 1 to 7 years corridor period where you're saving 20% of your flow. Stage 2, being year 8 plus, is where you can take 100% of money and put it in and take it 100% out, 100% in, 100% out. Stage 3 is your distribution stage. Okay. And I'm showing you this by way of a spreadsheet, by way of a sample illustration. But here's the beautiful part. I know we're talking about replacing your expenses, okay, and hypothetically replacing your income. Look at this. Look at this. You get a death benefit of $1.8 million. 50% of that, 50%, almost $900,000, that's your long-term care. That's your disability money. Who cares about a war? If you're properly covered, a war should not bother you. It should not scare you. It should bring you and your family and your friends closer together. Okay? For some of you who are wondering, okay, well, James, my house is paid off. I don't have any debt. Well, I just showed you a 10-year plan where you can replace your income. For some of you, you've always wanted to maybe go back to school. For some of you, maybe you have student loans that you're trying to pay off. For some of you, maybe you have a mortgage that if your mortgage was taken care of, you would be good to go. Whatever your financial need is, what I'm trying to share with you is that this program is a remedy for a lot of things. It's like the Swiss Army knife of financial products. Okay. So I'm putting this out there to you because I want you guys to be wise. I want you not to live in fear. I want you to be empowered. Okay. I want you to be empowered. So I want to share a couple of announcements with you guys really quickly, and then we'll get on out of here. Here's the first thing. First things first. Like The Laster Financial on Facebook. Check out our topic. Our content calendar is already up right now. Right? We're doing this on a 6 to 8 week basis, so you already know what our conversational topics are going to be. And if you'd like to add to our conversational topics, definitely put them inside the chat box. Definitely if you're watching on a replay. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, and then the subsection of number one is, hey, check us out on All About Others on YouTube. Check us out on TikTok. You're going to start seeing a lot of us on TikTok and on Instagram, whatever your platform preference is. Okay, to all of my clients, it's number two. Listen, it's time for your annual review. It's time to reach out. Let's make sure that everything is well with you financially. Definitely doing this time right now. Let's make sure that all our I's are dotted, all our T's are crossed. I was working with a client earlier today, and we were making sure that she was covered with her trust, her will, her power of attorney, and her medical directive. Do you need those things? Let's get you covered. The third thing that I'm super excited with, I've been working on a project with CDP Media, and guys, we are getting ready. It's coming. It's coming, right? It's coming really soon, right? Something called the Lion's Den. Oh man, this is gonna be awesome! The Lion's Den. Yes, the Lion's Den. We're going to open that up for all type of financial discussions based upon a lot of the questions that many of you guys ask, and we're just going to put it on a public platform. Stay tuned for the Lion's Den. And then last but not least, don't let all the distractions of the world take you away from your true purpose, your passions. What are you really good at? What would you do for almost free? Almost free. I didn't say free, I said almost. Okay. Take into consideration all of those things and absorb them. Now we're going live again. If you notice, we're always going live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We may pop in from time to time. But the big deal is on Monday, where we're going to be working with CDP Media, and we're going to be talking about audio algorithms and getting attention with social media. So stay tuned for that on Monday, and next week on Tuesdays. This is what I'm really excited about. Okay, brace yourselves. For all of you who are thinking about retiring, school teachers, some of you guys in the medical profession, if you're thinking about retiring, or if you're already retired, we're going to talk about taxes and retirement with a split flow annuity. That's good stuff. We're going to show you how to gravely reduce your taxable burdens with a split flow annuity. You're going to love this one right here. Stay tuned for that. That's March 1st. That's how we're kicking off the first day of the year with a split flow annuity conversation, how to reduce your taxes and your tax burden in retirement. Now, I don't care how old you are, because at some point in time, you're going to want to retire. I know you love what you do for a living, but you're going to want to retire. Okay. So all financial plans need to start with the end, and you work yourself backwards. And that's how you know you have a solvent plan. Have you done that? Have you talked about taxes with your advisor? Have you talked about Social Security, Medicare? Have you talked about your beneficiaries, your contingent beneficiaries? Have you talked about gift taxes? Have you talked about education funding? Education funding. Okay. And maybe you have, maybe you didn't. Stay tuned with us and we will. So I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's event. We're just going to keep empowering you guys, loving on you guys, wishing you to be truly successful. And as we always say, though it may be hard, proper planning makes execution easier. I'm James Laster, Master Financial Planner, CEO of Laster Financial Consultants. I want to thank Sandra for stepping in with us, and we got Jennifer who's listening right here with us. I want to thank everybody for being a part of this event. Whether you're watching it on the replay or whether you're watching it live, stay healthy, and let's have a contest. Who can outlove you? Right? Don't let anybody outlove you. You outlove them. All right. Until next time, you guys take care. Be well. We love you guys.